Oh, hi there. So today we want to look at the crazy, crazy world that are Disney adults and Disney vloggers. And we want to look at, are some of these people on the spectrum? I want to say absolutely. They find their safe home there, and there are so many things about Disney and Disney theme parks that appeal to autistic people, including that I think Walt Disney himself was on the spectrum. And I'll talk a bit about why I think that. But the focus of this video changed a bit as I was planning and collecting clips over the last few weeks and months, because some of this seems to be crashing down right now. So I'll be looking at that because a lot of this Disney adult subculture is driven by excessive consumerism, and people can't afford it anymore, and the price for everything Disney is through the roof. And in fact, a lot of what we're seeing now reminds me so much of 2007, 2008. I distinctly remember reading in a forum, oh, there's just tumbleweeds in our Harley Davidson dealership. People are not coming in anymore. And I think it stuck to my mind because I'm a visual thinker and I actually thought intensely about tumbleweeds rolling through a Harley Davidson dealership. But yeah, it's absolutely remarkable what's going on right now, where it seemed like the Disney train was unstoppable. Families would continue to spend exorbitant amounts of money on Disney stuff, but now maybe they don't. And speaking of consumer culture, of course you've noticed, this is like a cheap Paula Young wig that I bought on sale, and then I put it on. I was like, oh my gosh, I look like a Disney fan. It's like way too blonde for me, and can't really send it back because like after shipping and everything I might get $10 back. But I think it fits well for this video, just like this pink t-shirt I got at a thrift store, which is maybe a bit too tight, but gotta go with a theme. Let me know in the comments if this looks like incredibly basic or if you actually like the look. Oh, and quick disclaimer, if you are a Disney vlogger and you got maybe intrigued about this video, just click away now because you don't learn anything new here. I'm making this video for an audience who doesn't know that you call Disney park employees cast members, or that if you check into a Disney hotel that you have to look for the hidden Mickeys in the wallpaper. People who, if they hear Florida evacuation, they think of a big hurricane approaching. They don't think of, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride breaking down for the 10th time this week and having to be evacuated from the ride by cast members. But yeah, for you uninitiated who aren't deep into the Disney subculture, here's a thought that I find just insanely funny. Imagine it's 2022. You live somewhere in America, maybe you have a dead-end job. I mean, you have the latest phone, you have an apartment, but your life is really stuck. Maybe you have a few $1,000s saved up. You could quit everything, pack up, move to a rundown apartment near Walt Disney World, and start a business which is a YouTube channel where you just walk the park every single day for 8 to 10 hours, whatever. And as long as you have a personality, you connect with people easily, and from a technical standpoint, you can handle the microphone, the phone, handling the live chat. You will have a built-in audience. People will join your stream, and before you know it, you have 50, 100, 200 people joining, and they might send you super chats so you can buy that certain dessert that they want to see, and you stand in line possibly for hours for these rides, and you chat with your audience. And it used to be this built-in recipe for YouTube success because you have a worldwide audience that wants to see Disney World, and they want to be able to join a chat where they can talk about what they see. And a lot of these Disney fans, they are super nice chatters, and they are very generous, and they are very quick to support a nice vlogger that carries the immense cost of, the park tickets, etc. When they don't have the funds to travel all the way to Orlando and go to the park. And yes, there are some super huge Disney vloggers out there that live stream, but a lot of the people in the chat, they want a chat that goes slow enough where you can actually interact. So these vloggers or live streamers that have, thousands of people in their chat, you can't chat with each other anymore. So for the last few years, there's always been a demand for new and upcoming Disney live streamers. But yeah, as an aspiring YouTuber myself, I just find that super funny that all you have to do is like sell your soul to a mega corporation and just obsessively, consume all the overpriced food, merchandise, the rides, the shows, the films, everything they put out, and share that. And yeah, that's sort of was a shortcut to success. But yeah, the very interesting thing right now is that it has tipped over. Too many people jumped on the bandwagon, the last few months, and interest in Disney has dropped off, apparently dramatically. And I'll get into that more in the second part of this video, but first let's take a look at that Disney subculture and have some laughs, because to me all this stuff is just like so insanely funny. Especially for me as a European, that that shameless consumer culture and materialism, it's so gross, and people don't even see anything wrong with it. And like a lot of these Disney vlogger videos play like Saturday Live skits. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about.
Tickets, oi, oi, oi! Oi, oi, oi! Our neighbors too. Oh, there's no one behind us. oh, come on, right here. Yep. Hey!
Yeah, look at them all holding cameras, even if it's out of frame with a selfie stick. Nobody says Auf Wiedersehen before drinking their beer.
Well, I've had pretty much all I can eat when it comes to sausages and potato pancakes, but now I got to get to the desserts. And they always have good desserts here. They got the blueberry crumble cake right here. They've got the Bavarian cheesecake. They've got the Black Forest cake. But the only thing that matters to me is this apple strudel. And I always like taking the end pieces.
What?
Take it from the back. Take it from the back. There you go. That's...
Yeah, in Germany we don't have the death penalty, except for people who take the end pieces of the Apfelstrudel.
The way. Scoot it right on in there. And then we get ourselves some extra vanilla sauce. This is the way. Oh yeah, much too good. You guys know I love my apple strudel.
Yeah, gotta admit, some of that food at Disney World looks really good. And I don't remember it being that food driven when I was there last, I guess, year 2000 or something. But yeah, I might have to show some B-roll in the corner just of the various foods that you can buy at Disney. Very overpriced, but yeah, some of it looks really good. Especially for me now, as I mostly eat, peanuts, oatmeal, bananas, Granny Smith apples, scrambled eggs. I've been cutting down my food budget to almost nothing.
Cheers. Much too good.
And yeah, watching Paging Mr. Morrow, I get that intrusive thought of like, how big does he get out of frame? And, it does hurt to see him. I mean, that's his job, to eat, to film himself eating. Oh, and by the way, all the clips I show today I mean, fortunately, I have a mature audience. I don't think you'll go there and harass or make negative comments or whatever. Please give them a thumbs up. But let's move on here to the next clip, which is 7-hour line forms for Figment popcorn bucket at Epcot Festival of the Arts. 7-hour line. People buy a ticket, stand in line for 7 hours to get a garish plastic popcorn bucket in the shape of a dragon. But this was a year ago. I don't think this would happen this way again this year. But this is how crazy it was.
The most anticipated item of the festival, obviously, this little buddy right here, this Figment popcorn bucket, which arrived at Pop Eat to get Figment, who comes with this colorful popcorn over here. He's $25 with the popcorn. According to cast members, the wait for the bucket reached between 6.5 and 7, 7 hours. You could also eat your way around the world in style with the new Figment Spork. That was a surprise. We didn't know that was coming. This adorable spork sports Figment on the top, wielding a paintbrush. The festival logo is on the handle, and we found the spork at the Pop Eats Food Studio, but it is at most of the food studios, and get this, folks, it is $2.50. It is a bargain.
Oh God, Disney has been printing so much money off these Disney adults. I mean, that thing, the manufacturing cost must be like, what, 5-10 cents for this thing?
They're going to figure that out real quick and raise that price. I just get the feeling. And with the start of the festival comes another year of Figment's brush with the Master's Scavenger Hunt. Whether you'd like a little help with the hunt or want to play along at home.
So what's surprising about this photo? Oh yeah, it's just a person with like a normal fingernail.
And then your redemption, you get this little statue. Oh, you think he's plaster? All right.
Oh, there we go. Much better.
Earlier in the day and debuting this evening, but obviously you now get to see the video because we were there for the first show this evening. It features rainbow lighting to the soundtrack of the Muppets' Rainbow Connection, sung by Kermit and Miss Piggy. Spaceship Earth lights up with the song in different colors and as well with the rainbow. It's a really cute show. It's the longest Beacon of Magic Points of Light show we've seen so far. Watch the full thing right here on the channel. It's super cute. Joffrey's Coffee is getting in on the celebration of the Festival of the Arts. With some of the booth has been painted to resemble Mirabelle's teal skirt, and the booth features designs inspired by her DIY embroidery. There's 2 cans, cats, food, candles, and flowers, and the butterflies on the booth are 3-dimensional. The decorations even extend to the menu.
So this is an adult man who reports this news. Yeah, and I'm getting a little bit of the, just autistic vibe, just with this minimal body language. Clearly he's using a teleprompter, but still.
Fish on Disney's Boardwalk will reopen on January 27th, and Jiko the Cooking Place at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge will reopen on February. Surf Club Bar and Grill at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort, as well as the return of old offerings to Cape May Cafe at dinner buffet back, but new lunch items.
But yeah, let's move on here to $4,000 a night Polynesian bungalows in Disney World, which I think they got at the bargain of $2,500 for being part of the club.
It's not a joke anymore.
Work in progress.
This is actually my first time seeing a Hey Disney in a room. They were announced by Disney a while ago at this point.
And spot the Mickey ears. You always have to spot the Mickey ears.
Amazon, it's like a specialty Alexa. It can also help with things like park hours, wake-up calls, bedtime stories.
Hold on. I can play with the lights. I'm sorry.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
Okay.
You did it.
Wait, relax. What does relax do?
It dimmed.
It dimmed.
It dimmed. It turned those off, but kept the hallway on because it's relaxing mode.
What about nightlight? Are there nightlights?
I don't know that we're going to be able to see these right now.
Well, yeah.
Because they're
Let's check. This is weird. Same but.
Mickey towels. Thank you.
I mean, is there a more generic, nondescript cartoon character than Mickey Mouse? I mean, what does Mickey Mouse like? Except maybe a bit mischievous? Like, if you pissed him off, would he stab you in the back? This obsession with Mickey Mouse is one of the things I understand less, but I didn't grow up with Mickey Mouse.
Okay, so you've got the overhead waterfall shower. Oh. I'm getting Jungle Cruise, I'm getting Peter
Moana.
Pan, I'm getting Moana. Because this looks like the Jolly Roger here.
Yeah, that looks like Moana's boat.
And last but certainly not least, we have another bedroom poking around on things.
Blu-ray.
Oh yeah. That looks suspiciously like a vampire. DVC rental store again because this is literally #1 on my bucket list to stay here. And I don't think we ever would have been able to do it without them. I mean, the rack room rate for this room is just under $4,000. And through DVC rental store, we're here for just under $2,500.
Yeah, it's about a 40% savings. And some food.
Hey Disney, play some music.
Here's iHeart,
This is the coolest. All right, well that was probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, we'll be there very soon. Spoiler alert, we're gonna eat dinner in our...
Hey friends, today we are hanging out at the Magic Kingdom. It has been a while since I've been here last, so I decided to go all out. I bought the new and improved Genie Plus to see how it works, and then also a lightning lane for Tron. So we're gonna ride Tron today. On top of all that, Disney released tons of new snacks around the park, and I figured it was the perfect day to come out, ride lots of rides, eat lots of food, and have a beautiful Magic Kingdom kind of day. You have to pick which Magic Kingdom today for $25.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Just to book and then navigate the park, you constantly have to be on your phone. Like if you want to do a ride, like you have to now to avoid lines, you have to like book it on your phone. It's like, who wants to constantly be on their phone on vacation? But you pretty much have to now at Disney World because it all goes through your phone.
And this is split out for Genie Plus, so I'm starting out the day already -40.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a autism vibe here with paging Mr. Morrow, who, by the way, took his name from, it's like a loudspeaker announcement when you go on the People Mover ride.
$45, and I still have lots of food I want to buy for the day. And my first lightning lane of the day is going to be for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and then we're going to make another one once we're off the ride. But look at, I'm so excited. Look at, bada bing. I love Winnie the Pooh. It's one of my favorite dark rides, but as soon as I tapped in for my lightning lane, I went to the app to make another lightning lane, and I got Pirates of the Caribbean for this exact time right now. So as soon as we get off, we can go ride Pirates. And I was looking at some of the other like selections, like Big Thunder Mountain and Peter Pan are like 2 hours away. Probably all of his friends are right behind us. What is Tigger doing there? I think he's just waiting for his friends.
If you haven't been to Florida, imagine the most brutal, super humid heat. I can't even explain the discomfort you have when you walk through the park, in June, July, in the middle of the day. I can't imagine these poor cast members wearing these costumes.
Hi, Pooh. And here comes our honey pot. I'm so excited.
The East Wind traded this is the West Wind way. If you ask me.
Yeah, so this is a grown man going to Disney parks dozens of times in the span of a year and riding rides by himself.
Milkshake, and it's a cookies and cream milkshake, which makes me think it's kind of like the gray stuff. It's like a gray stuff milkshake, and it's called Divinely Diabolical. Divinely Diabolical. Divinely Diabolical. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying that.
Diabolical.
Diabolical. highly diabolical, that's the way. And it looks amazing. I'm like, it looks just like the picture. Holy moly, look at it, it's purple. And I'm excited to try this. I think it's gonna be, I love cookies and cream things. So this is right up my alley. And it's a hot day, so it's gonna cool me off a little bit.
Oh God, that's just so horrible food. Ugh, it's just so bad for you.
Parks I visited in Pennsylvania, you actually have to reach out. I think I'm gonna go with this big guy right here. I literally love the carousel so much. I have no idea why. And this, the carousel was Ariel's first.
It's because you're autistic and it is something with a spinning motion. Oh boy. Yeah, so this is the funniest idea for a movie. Somebody make this, you know, like some young guy living somewhere, moving to Orlando, going to Disney World every single day, selling his soul, and then, you know, noticing more and more what a burden it becomes to have to go to a theme park every single day. And the myriad ways how Disney exploits its fans and then gets completely disillusioned. And yeah, it would have to be filmed on the sly, of course. You know, you won't get, you know, filming permission. And in fact, I think there are some other Disney parks now in the world where it's even prohibited to live stream. If that were ever happened to the Orlando park, I don't even know. But yeah, for some people, they can live vicariously through those live streamers. So would it maybe help park attendance? Or would park attendance completely crash because everybody would be so pissed off? And this live streaming fan club thing is mostly for people who can't afford Disney World in the first place.
First ride she ever did was the carousel. Look at this. I wonder if she would love to come here and ride this one. I think she would love this one too.
From home, so today myself and Bianca were driving out to Disney's Animal Kingdom to meet up with some friends.
Yeah, let's move on here to a clip from PC Dev. And his channel name confused me for the longest time because I hear PC Dev, I think PC development, which is like, I guess, outdated developed software for desktops, but I think it means Prince Charming Dev, and Dev is his name. So, but he'll talk here about the oppressive heat in the parks. So
we're just going to see where the day takes us. We may do some park hopping. We are definitely going to be riding some rides. It really just depends on the weather.
And he's definitely not on the spectrum. Goes to show that not all Disney adults are. And he actually has a family, and he, you know, sometimes goes alone, sometimes doesn't.
Today, because this last week, the heat has been so intense. It has been well over 100 degrees with the humidity and the real feel. And if you're here in Orlando during the months of June, July, August, it's so intense, and it's just not so fun when the temperature is over 100 degrees. It's very...
I just absolutely can't stand it. I mean, even here where I live, way up the East Coast, it's July right now. I'm suffering. It's like prison. If you live in Germany, you can't even imagine. It's like you can't open the window and feel a cool breeze. Like never, not even in the evening. In Florida, you never have a cool breeze. You know, maybe if there's a hurricane like to the east, you will, but it's like oppressive heat and humidity like every month of the year. Here, at least, you know, if I hang in there till October, you know, there will be some nice cool days.
Very hard on the body, but we are expecting some rain later this afternoon, so I'm hoping with the rain, it will cool off today. Also, recently, Disney updated their Disney Genie Plus service.
Yeah, but in high heat and humidity, I can basically not even run. Yeah, I can maybe run for, you know, a minute. And then I'm completely out of breath, have to walk. And then if there's a cool day with low humidity, I suddenly go like, wow, I can keep going and keep going. I mean, it's like, it's so incredible the effect that has on the body. And I cannot believe that people would go to Disney World more than once, period. You know, much less all these Disney vloggers every day. I mean, it just blows my mind.
Disney,
yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Will make it visiting going to matters. I feel like we did go stacking some already. All right, welcome to Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Tony, do you know where I can find some ears?
No.
In the Nat Geo section, I was hoping to find something better than.
So that's Mammoth Club. Definitely a couple that's, Disney adults, but I guess they do a, kind of ironic video here making fun of themselves.
Ears, and it's this shark shirt that Disney made, and it had a picture of a shark on it, and it had like all the anatomy of the shark on it, and then it said great white shark, but it was definitely a reef shark. So let's go into trendy. Get it? Trendy? Like trendy, but like.
And then I can post some of my ears to be sold. Would that be productive? That would be productive. Let's use this as a productive experience. So.
Oh yeah, Disney ears. I mean, people spend like $25, $30, $40 for Mickey ears, and they collect like literally hundreds of them.
Let's roll into it. I mean, we'll roll the intro. We'll get talking about ears. Do you guys collect ears? I have so many friends that collect like ears, and they have them like hundreds of them like lined on their walls. I don't have that many ears, but I do have a lot of ears.
I don't have many ears. Yeah, other people have way more ears.
How many times am I going to say ears in this video? Ears.
The wood base. We're going to come back and open this, but this is the sofa. I love the pillows. I missed themed pillows very much.
So I assume these are hetero-grown men who are into throw pillows.
The puss, which is not a Moana thing. Neither of these are Moana things. And then one with the turtle. So they did a couple things. It is a lot of Moana, but there are a few places where there are things that are just Polynesian and not necessarily Moana related. Obviously, we do have what we've called the big decal wall back here. It's textured though, so it's wallpaper, which is good. There's a hidden Mickey too. If you guys look, I'm sure you've spotted it. It's pretty apparent.
Yeah, the hidden Mickey. Gotta look for all the hidden Mickeys or the Mickey ears. Oh, look, there are Mickey ears in the wallpaper. Wow, there's like Mickey ears in the toothbrush holder.
Actually, I think there's more than one now that I'm looking. But it doesn't repeat, so the other one's kind of half a hidden Mickey. But yeah, Moana and Maui are there. It looks like his tattoos.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, if you're autistic, if you get into like collecting Funko Pops, then you suddenly have to collect all Funko Pops, know everything about Funko Pops. And if you're into Disney, then you have to analyze everything and find all the motifs in the wallpaper and distinguish between what is Polynesian and what is Moana movie. And yeah, to me that is very, very much autistic traits here. I mean, what do you think? Would like, what neurotypical person would do that? I mean, especially as there's like no social aspect to it. Knowing all these things, recognizing all these things, more than likely you would annoy the neurotypical people around you if you point out every hidden Mickey. And yeah, now we get into what it actually costs to go to Disney World. And that to me is the most insane thing, because okay, not everybody likes theme parks or whatever, but you could go on such wonderful vacations for that money, like gorgeous vacations, remote locations with wonderful weather, with history, with interesting places to walk, that are not as crowded. I mean, you could travel the world, and these people decide to go to Orlando for several days and suffer in the heat, in the crowds. I want to say, even if you have a family, I mean, and I went when my son was little, and yeah, he liked it, but if they are 4 or 5, I mean, they like many, many things. There are so many different ways to have fun with your kids. But let's take a look here at how much this family spent.
Then we headed over to Toy Story Land, and even with Lightning Lane, we still only got to ride one ride. Ice cream was $25 and popcorn was $16. Then over at Galaxy's Edge, 3 lightsabers cost us a whopping $800. They also no longer hold them for you until the end of the day, plus different airlines have different restrictions when flying home, so we opted to ship them to us for an additional cost. Every ride had a 120-minute wait time, so we only got to ride one ride in this section of the park as well. We tried the infamous blue and green milk and had lunch at Backlot and funnel cakes at Epic Eats. Photo Pass was an extra $170 for cell phone quality pictures, and finally we had dinner at Planet Hollywood. Factoring in our nightly hotel rate of $997 brings our total to $3,758.
Oh my. I'm sorry, I don't even know where to start. Was that $800 on lightsabers?
Some people took to Disney's defense, one saying that this room requires the context of club level to better justify its price, adding it comes with unlimited alcohol among other benefits. I disagree. Realistically, you're only going to have a few glasses of wine, maybe a few beers a night. It's not cocktails, it's not top shelf liquor, it's very generic red and white wine. That's all they give you, so that paired with snacks and food you get throughout the day, what does that really add up to? $150 maybe? You can stay in a suite at the JW, hire your own driver to take you to the parks, and buy several full bottles of top shelf alcohol for less than it would cost you to spend one night in this room. Now, others correctly asserted that you're paying the high prices for the close access to the Magic Kingdom. To wrap this whole review up, that is really what you're spending so much for. It's the convenience.
Yeah, Disney has been getting away with murder, especially last few years. They're not able to do that anymore. And you know what? I'm glad. Because, you know, when I grew up, there was still the sense if you spent lavishly, you know, you had a little bit of the sense of, like, okay, there are a lot of poor people that would be just overjoyed to have even $20 or $50 and, you know, to spend like thousands in a single day. Yeah, maybe that's more like a German European attitude that might have already changed since the 1980s and 90s, but there's something so gross about shoveling money for cheap plastic toys and bad food and crappy hotel rooms to a large corporation when there's so many better things you could do with that money, you know, for yourself or even, you know, for others.
Here, and you're getting close to $10,000 if you include park tickets, Genie Plus, and resort parking. Which, by the way, despite spending $966 a night, Disney still does charge you for resort parking.
Right, starting off with the pros. Number one, great tropical theming.
If you like the Caribbean, you're going to love this resort because it does really make you feel like you are at a tropical resort.
This resort is a relaxing, it's literally a paradise. It captures everything from the essence of the 5 distinct islands that they have. It's just filled with bright colors, swaying hammocks, and they give you that illusion of having beaches.
It does make you feel like you are in the Caribbean, even though you are in the middle.
Yeah, and now let's get into, just very briefly, because it has been talked about already to death, but like how evil Disney can be.
Which directly increased the value of the company's aging portfolio of intellectual property. Since the company makes so much of its revenue from licensing, the best way to secure value for shareholders is to make sure nobody can use their media without.
Yeah, look at Walt Disney here, at his vibe. Definitely get a little bit that autistic vibe just from a few seconds of his face.
Paying for it. The 1998 Act extended legal protections to life of the author plus 70 years, and for works of corporate authorship to 120 years after creation,
resulted in yet another extension for Mickey, as well as a handful of other characters that would have been in the public domain by now. But maybe you're thinking, so what if Disney wants to keep control of its characters? Well, one criticism is that Disney is keeping control of characters adapted from the public domain, and that's really bad for art. Pooh, Snow White, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Because, you know, Walt Disney stole so many of our German heritage fairy tales, you know, collected by the Brothers Grimm, and turned them into movies and copyrighted the shit out of them. Like Snow White, Schneewittchen, Brothers Grimm, Cinderella, Aschenputtel, Brothers Grimm, Sleeping Beauty, versions in many cultures, but Germany has Dornröschen with the dwarfs, etc. The Princess and the Frog, you know, The Frog Prince by Brothers Grimm. Tangled is Rapunzel, Brothers Grimm. Frozen is based on a story, The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. The Little Mermaid, also by Hans Christian Andersen. The Emperor's New Groove, Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, so it really hurts to see our German language culture, hundreds of years old, taken and turned into this Disney crap. Yeah, so it's disappointing that all these Disney influencers like kowtow to a corporation like that.
And his father wanted to put Spider-Man on his dead son's headstone, but Disney refused, stating that its denial would help preserve the innocence and magic of its characters. And oh yeah, Disney tried to trademark the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, the holiday. They tried trademarking that because Pixar was working on a movie that featured the holiday, and they wanted to sell Day of the Dead themed merchandise. Disney tried to trademark a fucking holiday. I want to make a t-shirt. And of course there's that whole thing about Walt Disney being anti-Semitic and how he froze himself, and then Disney made the movie Frozen, so when people search Walt Disney Frozen, the movie pops up instead of articles about Walt Disney being frozen.
Now that of course is just a rumor with that Frozen thing, even though I haven't really seen anything that like definitely disproves that Walt Disney's body or head was frozen. And this strikes me actually as a kind of person and innovator, and around the time when he was approaching death, cryogenically being frozen like became like this big possibility. I think he would have been the first one to actually jump on that and just go, let's just go with it, let's make it happen. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised.
If you, for the people at home who aren't familiar with you or what you do you want to give like a brief description of what you're all about, I suppose?
Sure. So over the last 5 years or so, I've been making videos about Disney. I started off making videos about Star Wars, and slowly over time I realized there was a big opportunity. There wasn't a lot of people talking about Disney feature animation and Pixar, and now I talk about DreamWorks as well. And so I break down different characters and theories and different plot holes to try to appreciate and spread the magic of Disney as much as I can through my content.
You can count on us. Jillian, what you doing? Man, them boots, right? That's like pure 1960s sci-fi right there.
Oh yeah, the fireworks at night. Just, oh my gosh, just waiting there for a long time in that crowd and then standing throughout the whole show. Just, oh God, just makes my skin crawl, but some people like it.
The vibe at Magic Kingdom is so good right now, you all. I'm going in to see Mickey in just a few minutes. And the Beast is back in Festival of Fantasy Parade, so I'm super excited about that.
Oh yeah, and this claustrophobic prison-type galactic Star Cruiser hotel it was geared at Star Wars fans, but like just completely the wrong kind of modern Star Wars, and just from these claustrophobic rooms to the forced group activities in a non-stop like socializing.
Station crash! Station crash!
Crash!
Good time to discuss your journey.
Please.
Yes.
All right, we turned the droid off, and now we're looking into space right now. Look at this. This is out into outer space. And then you got the two bunks. You said you wanted the top bunk up there?
Yeah, I want the top bunk.
I was kind of like looking at some photos. I mean, I've stayed spoiler free, but I was looking at some photos of someone that's about my height.
And let me know what you guys think. Do you think the price for this apartment is worth it? You know what I mean? Being so close to Disney, 5 minutes away, but paying, like I said, $1,800 a month. $1,800 a month, 600 square feet. I always try to do the math and basically see how much I'm paying per square foot. You know what I mean? So you take the rent and then you divide it by the square feet of the apartment.
Yeah, so I talked about how people in the Disney community usually treat each other like with utmost friendliness and respect. But between Disney vloggers, there's actually a lot of beef and drama often. And even if it's just, you're an upcoming vlogger, so you go on somebody else's stream and say, oh, I'm going to be, live streaming here in a little bit from Magic Kingdom or whatever. So yeah, they sometimes try to steal each other's viewers, but there's also some other stuff going on, and don't have time to get into that. But that's kind of that can be kind of interesting to look at too.
Accused of things and talked about in order for other people to gain followers or views, used as kind of a springboard for their clickbait with our name. So.
Oh yeah, and if a ride closes, like on the very last day of Splash Mountain, I mean, literally people scooped up water and were selling like that dirty amusement ride water on eBay as souvenirs of Splash Mountain.
The queue just popped up to 240, so things have gotten worse.
240 minutes.
Since we were here before.
Driven to his limit, Walt had a nervous breakdown in 1931 and took a break abroad with his wife to recuperate.
I got to a point that I couldn't talk on the telephone. I'd begin to cry. And
wow, I have that, of course. My crying meltdowns when I socialize too much. So to me, it's so interesting that he says he couldn't talk on the phone anymore. He would cry. Reminds me of other autistic people like that young man in my Healthy Gamer GG video who built a business and then suddenly he couldn't do it anymore or crashed. And so autistic people can be very social, very interactive with others. But once they run out of social energy, the plane runs out of fuel, it completely crashes. But I feel myself, rapidly running out of talking energy. This video is getting long. My t-shirt has been getting sweat stains, and it's hot in here because I don't want to run the air conditioning and the noise while I'm recording here. It's July, so before I get into the more interesting topic, which is how Disney vlogging and adult Disney culture is like on a sudden severe downtrend right now, in my opinion. Let me just briefly touch and summarize why I do think that while a lot of Disney adults are not on the spectrum, but a lot are. And I think what attracts a lot of autistic people to Disney is, it's like a completely sheltered, completely isolated culture. If you join the Disney cult, you suddenly have a million friends. You always have something to talk about, even if it's just the latest snacks, the latest movies, the latest rides, planning your next trip. You can go on a cruise. And people treat each other in that community with so much gentleness, with so much friendliness. There's no sarcasm. There's not making fun of each other, or hardly any. Nobody gets bullied. Nobody gets picked on. I mean, it really is a safe space. Go to one of those Disney World live streams and go into the chat, and everybody welcomes each other as they join the chat, and everybody's excited, and everyone is best buddies, and there's not even the typical, where as soon as a woman is in the chat, the man might be, coming on to them or whatever. There's not even much of that. It's just, 100% friendly, warm interaction. Yeah, and I do like, people watching, so these are kind of neat. I enjoy watching people in the park, the families. Yeah, but in those streams, people always post their excitement about the rides. Even if that live streamer has been on that ride already hundreds of times, they're posting about, how great it is to go on that ride, and then they rave about the food. They laugh at the dad jokes from the Dapper Dance. They marvel at the glass blowing shop. I mean, they don't talk politics. They don't talk anything negative. It's like pure positivity, pure respect, pure banter, but not edgy banter, just sweet banter with each other. So when it comes to socializing among adults, I don't think there's any other subculture that is as easy as being a Disney adult. And yeah, if Disney is your special interest, there's unlimited possibility for looking forward to things, for collecting things, for how you decorate your place, how you plan your vacations. I mean, it really can take over your life, and that in a way can make it easier. You know, if you're just into Disney, your life revolves around Disney. If you find all your happiness through Disney stuff, that crowds out a lot of complications if you were into a lot of different things or trying to connect with a wide range of people. And then, of course, the rides. You know, people on the spectrum are fascinated with things moving, you know, trains, slow-moving water, things moving around on a plane. And here I get into why I think Walt Disney himself was actually on the spectrum. And if you know my videos, you know my theory is that if autistic people are very much into something, then that something was maybe conceived by somebody who's on the spectrum too. So with Walt Disney, I think about how much obsessive focus and creativity it needed to innovate in this brand new field of animation. You know, how to make it work, you know, figure out all the different aspects of it. And he was not alone in that. Other people were also figuring it out, but clearly that was one of his special interests that got things rolling. And very telling to me is then later his interest in, you know, creating an amusement park. You know, again, things, you know, little trains, rides, it's moving in predictable patterns, routing people. And you see that actually urbanism is one of those special interests that fascinates a lot of people on the spectrum. Just look at channels like City Nerd, etc. There's something about planning, moving things around in predictable patterns. And of course, Walt Disney came up with Epcot, which was not conceived as a theme park as much as a, you know, experimental city of the future.
And all these varied activities around the Disney World will be tied together by a high-speed, rapid transit system running almost the full length of the property. But the most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow.
Epcot.
We call it Epcot, spelled E-P-C-O-T. Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow.
Don't tell me that name is not autistic in itself.
Here it is in larger scale. From the new ideas and new technologies that are now emerging from the creative centers of American industry.
Does he say industry like Trump?
Will never be complete.
Yeah, so it's hard to look for autistic mannerisms here, you know, in a video that's clearly so pre-planned, and they probably did a ton of takes, but I do feel that he's kind of stiff in his body language. But then again, you know, a lot of men, especially of that era, you know, come across like that on film because back then you maybe did not act casually on film, but you took on that stiff demeanor. So jury's out.
We must start with the public need. And the need is not just for curing the old ills of old cities. We think the need is for starting from scratch on virgin land and building a special kind of new community.
Yeah, so to me that is very interesting how he wanted to create like this bubble of where people could live happily. And yeah, beyond the mechanics of the trains and transportation and, you know, planning it all out, the normal world is too messy and dirty and unpredictable. And, you know, with this city of the future, things will be much better and people will be happier.
The active head of the organization, Walt Disney, takes time out for a word of greeting.
When Phil Reisman was here for the RKO convention, he visited our studios, and at the time he expressed...
Yeah, so he was younger here. I think there's a bit of stimming with his hand.
...the wish that all of you could see how these pictures were made. So we have hurriedly thrown together a little film that we hope will give you some idea of the methods involved and the great amount of work involved in the production of these pictures.
So I wanted to briefly here touch upon another Disney subculture within the subculture, even though it's maybe slightly out of it, because it's people actually criticizing the Disney rides, like analyzing how were they created, how effective new rides are, and often comparing them with earlier rides and appreciating like kinetic elements in the rides, where very often rides nowadays just use LCD screens. So there's this very interesting channel, Poseidon Entertainment, where I'm pretty sure that guy is on the spectrum, but he does make interesting videos about rides where I watch it with some fascination of how deep he gets into these kind of things.
The second video I ever produced on this channel is a more in-depth look at Disney's underwhelming design choices for their trackless dark rides. There, one aspect that I really tried to emphasize was how much of a mistake it was to use these vehicles, yet still design linear ride paths. Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway is the worst offender of this, and Rise of the Resistance suffers from this issue as well. Let me show you some quick examples that really exemplify how creatively bankrupt Disney's Imagineers were here. SeaWorld's Antarctica Empire of the Penguin, while not a great ride, did use its trackless vehicles more creatively. The guests were put into the role of a penguin named Puck, and the vehicles themselves would portray them dancing around on the ice and interacting with the environment. Being located in a building with a small footprint, the vehicles themselves would also backtrack, extending the ride time in a clever way. Another example would be the Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast at Tokyo Disneyland. For those new to the world of theme parks, I wouldn't consider this to be a Disney ride because the Japanese parks are run by the Oriental Land Company, only licensing the Disney brand and making the majority of creative decisions themselves. Here, the trackless vehicles spend a lot of time in each individual room, twisting, turning, and dancing as the musical numbers from the film play out, each scene continuing to evolve. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is fun. As legendary Imagineer Joe Rohde left the company in January of 2021, 6 months later he posted this picture on Instagram with the following message. Fun. In the business of entertainment design, you will come across people who will say, why can't it just be fun? This question is often an accusatory form of microaggression. It really means, why are you wasting so much time on intellectual BS and overbred aesthetic sensibility? But there is a logical answer. Fun is cheap. I can have fun in an inflatable pool in my backyard. So, are these places just plain fun? Are they hundreds or thousands of times more fun than shooting silly string at each other on the porch? Probably not. Therefore, fun cannot possibly be the motivating factor in the compulsive, repetitive, overscale patronage of the theme park industry. The motive is simply not competitive enough based on other options. People must be paying this kind of money and making this kind of effort for a reward that is of higher value, more rare, and of greater impact than fun.
Oh, that's such an autistic rant. Thinking back over the decades, back to Walt Disney and now where we are and where this will go forward. I think Disney has sailed for a long time, on the momentum of childhood nostalgia and yes, autistic people, enjoying the rides and just simply being a good place to take your family that maybe was not as expensive as overseas travel, etc. And I think these things are rapidly running out, and throw in the politics and the conflict between Disney and the state of Florida, and it'll be very interesting to watch where it goes from now on. Because autistic fan bases, you can look at Star Trek or Star Wars, I mean, they passionately stick to their favorites, possibly for years, decades. But if it comes to the point where they just absolutely cannot accept the new content or the direction in which a company is taking the IP, then, once you lose them, you lose them. And with this, we come to my main and final point of this video. And sorry it took so long, but obviously this video is geared towards people who might not be so plugged into the Disney sphere. But with all the clips we looked at and all the aspects, you might have gotten an idea of what a huge deal it is that this whole Disney vlogging thing seems to be crashing down, that interest in Disney is rapidly declining apparently right now, and a lot has to do with the recession and people running out of money, because you have other YouTubers like, I think just today I spotted a video by German in Venice who's in Los Angeles and reports that it's height of tourist season and there are extremely thin crowds at Venice Beach, which is a tourist mecca in Los Angeles. And
just to show you what is going on here, this guy's closed. And then look at the end here, all those stores are closed here. Why would you open up if nobody's buying anything from you?
So the economy is one aspect, but this YouTuber who obviously has been doing a ton of amusement park and Disney World stuff, and we saw a clip of him earlier. He says that he can see in his stats that people are not searching anymore for Disney, or not as much. They are not interested in amusement parks, and he has to change his whole channel away from Disney to more travel vlogging going forward. So let's listen a little bit to what he's saying.
There's just been a lot on my mind lately, and I feel like I need to talk about it. And the topics that I'm going to be discussing today, YouTube as a whole, the theme park / Orlando community within Disney and Universal, because there's just a lot going on behind the scenes, and park attendance is scary low right now. School's been out and park attendance is very low. I've been going to the parks a lot in the last few weeks, on and off camera, and it's scary what's happening right now with how empty the parks are for July, which is the peak time of summer vacation and summer travel. And I know some of you may say it's because of how hot it's been outside. I feel like that has just a little bit to do with the overall factor, but I really don't think that's scaring that many people away. And don't get me wrong, the parks are still busy, but a lot of these rides have been like 40, 30 minutes and under. And that's just crazy to me, because again, we are in the peak summer travel period where the parks should be jam-packed, and they're not. And it's getting to the point where, wow, I don't see Disney being busy anytime soon, at least for the rest of the year. And I mean, as I put up screenshots right now, look at the amount of discounts that Disney is throwing to Florida locals, annual pass holders. They're throwing out deals for tickets, and I wouldn't be surprised if here sometime shortly Disney may discount everyone's tickets. That way they can get more people coming to their theme parks. And if you guys have been paying attention to the news lately, you should know the Walt Disney Company is in a lot of deep financial trouble and hardship right now, such as buying Fox for a stupid amount, and now the company owes Comcast a good amount of money. And the theme parks are making the company decent money. I think that's kind of the only thing that is making the Walt Disney Company money right now, because Disney Plus surely is not making them money. They say Disney Plus will be profitable next year. I doubt that. The studio side is just crap right now, and then you have the writers strike, and then you have the actors going on strike now. it's very concerning and alarming as a content creator, because a big part of this channel is Disney, because I live in Orlando and I cover everything that has to do with Walt Disney World and even over at Disneyland. And I feel like Disney Cruise Line will be fine because the people who can afford to travel this summer, they are choosing to go on cruises and not come to theme parks and other vacation destinations. A lot of people are cruising right now, so it's not helping with the price of cruising because it's very, very expensive to cruise right now. And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit, because I actually decided not to go on our Disney cruise next month. And like I said, we'll get into that in just a little bit. But you really have to think, and for a content creator, and that goes for all Orlando / theme park vloggers, bloggers, and creators, with the decline that Disney is on right now.
He doesn't mention it, but if you check out the live streams, you see how often those rides are broken down in Walt Disney World. You know, imagine going with your family, paying hundreds of dollars, standing in line for 1 or 2 hours, and going on the ride, and then the ride breaks down. And various of those rides are broken like almost every day, several times a week. It's crazy.
They're not going to bring anything new to the theme parks, but Disney has really been doing the bare minimum lately. And one thing that I have stopped doing is the Epcot food festivals, because I feel like the food festivals since the pandemic, they have been a joke and they have been a waste of time, because the food quality has been very poor. The portion sizes are just getting smaller and smaller. Of course, prices is going up, and the food just has not been good at the Epcot festivals.
And I've heard that in other videos. It's like incredible how it seems like it started only a few months ago, that a lot of these, you know, hardcore Disney fan channels started posting really negative comments on videos about Disney. Of course, it's getting the clicks, so they do it, but it's also, you know, it's an amazing shift of sentiment.
And before 2020, those Epcot festivals used to be so incredibly awesome. The food was great, and they just don't appeal to me anymore, and I don't get. This morning I went online because I decided that I wanted to book Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which is coming up here in a few weeks, because I really wasn't going to go, but I love that event so much. And if you're a pass holder, you're only paying like $99 to go.
Yeah, these events are huge, you know, Halloween and Christmas.
In August. So I said, all right, let's go. I booked it, and then I noticed every single night other than Halloween night is still available for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And that event starts in just a few weeks. And then Jollywood nights, I booked.
Wow, I can't believe Halloween stuff is starting here pretty soon. That's scary.
Jollywood nights tickets, as soon as they went live, I went on the website this morning to my next topic, and that is YouTube as a whole. And this is going to tie into the Orlando / theme park community because of what I do here on YouTube. When I film, I'm usually filming theme parks, hotels, cruising, and traveling. I really like to call myself a travel vlogger.
And his YouTube channel is really good. If you're curious what it's like to go on a Disney cruise or whatever.
I don't like to be called a Disney vlogger, and I don't like to be called a theme park vlogger, because I really try to do a little bit of everything, and I try to bring you to a lot of different places. It just so happens that I live here in Orlando, and I live very close to Universal and Disney. So
yeah, coincidentally, he lives near Disney.
Of course, you're going to see a lot more of that, but heading into the future, I just want to be a travel champ. And YouTube has this really neat feature where I can see what my viewers are interested in and what my viewers are searching for. And crazy thing is, my viewers are not searching for Disney anymore. Also, people aren't really searching for Universal content either, other than Volcano Bay and Halloween Horror Nights, which is coming up shortly. Other than that, people are not really searching for theme park content. People are actually searching for other travel stuff within Orlando and just within travel destinations. And I don't have to be first anymore, and that is so mentally and physically draining, trying to film something the day of and make sure that your content is good, and then drive home, and then you edit and then upload.
Yeah, there's so much time pressure on these Disney vloggers. If something new comes out, they have to be among the first to post because everybody will be filming and posting the same thing.
I really don't like doing that, but I know some things you just have to do it because people are going to be interested in the newest thing at the theme parks. And the recent case was VillainCon Minion Blast. Everybody was there with a camera. It was just crazy to see with my own eyes how many people were there doing exactly what I was doing. And something else to note, I just feel like Orlando and the vlogging community, it's just oversaturated right now with the vloggers, the bloggers, websites, the TikTokers, the Instagrammers.
Yeah, so that's very interesting too, that just too many people jumped on the bandwagon. You know, people are losing interest in theme parks, so the vloggers can't make as much money anymore. They won't be posting as much, and that could, you know, create its own vicious cycle.
It's just, it's oversaturated. There's too many of us, and I'm not going to do that as much anymore.
Yeah, anyway, super interesting video. He talks about a lot of other things too, so check it out. But yeah, he's definitely neurotypical in my opinion. Interesting that he's, you know, among the first to completely jump off the bandwagon and to say, I'm not going to be a Disney vlogger anymore. So I think a lot of the more autistic vloggers will take more time where they are still, you know, pursuing their regular routine, and, you know, at some point, you know, they will probably drop off too. So, but anyway, you know, just realizing over the weeks and months how huge that Disney culture is and how deeply ingrained it is in American culture, and how absolutely passionate people are in spending so much money on Disney, and to think that this is now dropping off. And I think Disney is losing copyright now finally of Mickey Mouse, which could also be huge. Suddenly other people can use Mickey Mouse ears and Mickey Mouse to create content. And I feel, you know, maybe a lot of the 30, 40-year-olds, you know, grew up with a ton of Disney stuff, maybe even 50-somethings here in America. But the very next generation maybe didn't even consume that much Disney growing up. They had a lot of other stuff, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. So it'll be interesting to watch, you know, what happens with Disney. It blows my mind to think that maybe, you know, in 10 years, Disney will be something that will fading into the background of American culture. In short term, you know, I don't follow economic news these days, but I will keep an eye on how the Disney Corporation is doing. And I have to say, I mean, I don't wish a recession on anyone. That's always painful to so many people. However, I feel that you know, consumers' culture and materialism, I mean, it just went to such an excess in our mostly debt-fueled, you know, economy over, you know, really 20, 25 years, with that, you know, short blip of the Great Recession, where I feel we are in for a period of time where some of this gets purged. And I've lived through several of these periods in my life, you know, being a bit older, and it's always good. You know, it's good that the 80s ended with Greed is Good and the boss suits, and then we got like the grunge culture. And, you know, I certainly, you know, I don't know, of course I'm biased. I'm living like so poor right now we can't complain. I'm like still way better off than so many other people. But given how good I felt lately and productive and creative after selling my car and just completely downsizing my life, it makes me feel like, you know, if some of these people realize they can't spend any more thousands on a Polynesian village resort, whatever, or, you know, hundreds on, you know, plastic lightsabers, then, you know, some good could come out of it. But yeah, this time I've definitely rambled on too long. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look into Disney culture, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.